Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Your support really does make a huge difference. You'll find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org/contribute. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon online, or morning, or afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Late night. And we did just turn on the air conditioner. It's that time of year. Cold in the morning, warm in the afternoon. But we're also going to get you out and about in just a minute. So, is our final Dharma activity, and as such, we always search for something to begin to pull together the teachings from the week and a way for you to do so together in relationship as we've been doing. So I want to just say a couple of things to kind of tee up what we're going to do around vow, which was a key, obviously, Tori Sinji. Embodiment, which is another main key, and then the expression and the shared life of Sangha, which is another foundational piece. Those are some of the things that we want you to remember. Here we go. In terms of vow, some of you are familiar with Suzuki Roshi's term. He would ask his students, what's your inmost request? Which is an interesting use of language. Inmost, not your thought or your conceptualization, but what's that question, what that thing that calls you? It's very much like vows which are made for you, something that's coming to you in that way. But they're then embodied and expressed as your life and the life of Sangha, which are the other two features. So think now, just for a moment, if someone said, are you intimate with your inmost request, having spent this time, this week, on your cushion and together? What's moving? Is it a final answer? What's moving in that way? In terms of embodiment, there's also a very well-known short story where early on, Mel Weissman was with Suzuki Roshi in training, and Suzuki Roshi stopped in the hallway as they were walking somewhere together and turned to Mel and said, just to be alive is enough. It's a well-known little moment. Just to be alive is enough. What's the deepest thing moving? What does it mean to appreciate your life like that? That to be alive is enough. But you can't stop there. The next step is then how is it embodied in the life of the Sangha? And how do you begin to realize, as we did the reviews of the Bodhisattva ways, and as Peg read things about the Sangha and its history, that the Buddha's way is this right here. It's not something else. Here's a very brief quote from John Tarrant. Buddha's story is what's happening to you now. Buddha's story is what's happening to you now. The journey of the Buddha isn't a literal journey that happened long ago, and it's not what your life will become. It's here now, and paying attention helps you notice that. If you look into the life you have, that's what I was just suggesting and what we've done, your looking will lead you into a new life. If you look into the life you have, your looking will lead you into a new life. What you meet on the way is part of the way. I would say is the way. And so here we find ourselves. So I'm asking you to just, without any preparation really, to think about how would you respond to this question about inmost request? To deeply appreciate your life as an embodied response, knowing that this is the Buddha's way. It's not somewhere else. This is it. And how does it manifest in the life of Sangha? Now I'm going to read one more poem before we send you off. It's a short poem, and in some ways it's a little echo of some of what Peg has done, is bringing some things from our past. And this is from way past. This is back from Austin Zitzer. And we just had the exit ceremony, the Shuso ceremony for the two of you leaving. This is the poem that was written for my Shiso ceremony by my assistant. And the reason that I read it is it's a little bit of history, but really I think it echoes these pieces. And it's curiously present, as John Tarrant is saying, it's present in this moment. Listen to the words. The writer, her name was Anna, and this was 21 years ago. Now the rain has stopped. We are weary and aching. The air is lighter now. There's a lightness to time. It no longer flows through the blood vessels like lava, but flows through us as if light could flow through us. And I want to shout, stop. Leave us here in this bubble of light on the last of these days. In the bleached out sadness of the late afternoon, quivers on the edge of evening, this late afternoon will never be again. Though there will be others. I gulp it in with greedy breaths that only leave me swallowing air. We sat here in the morning, most morning, and watched the light slide across the wall as the cardinals in the garden sang the dawn, and in the evening the dusk faded into darkness, as dusk will. But I believe if it hadn't, we would have sat here just the same. Now I must let go of these things which I negotiated with such trickery that ultimately got me nowhere. As I counted down the days and made bargains with sleep, time, pain, and boredom. Now I find myself clinging, so I pay twice for what costs nothing. These things time gives and then takes away. If you could be Shuso over and I could be Benji again, then I would rumble and fidget my way through a whole new set of mornings, defying the falling silence of the morning twilight of the world, brand new each time. Just sometimes, when the Zendo was filled with stillness, held in our empty hands, and I was sitting staring at the chipped paint, the pale shadows of the wall, sometimes for a moment, it was enough. That moment was everything. Then sitting next to you, I found myself far from the place I thought was home. You said in Pali, faith means to place the heart upon. So then might the heart open like a flower in all its misshapen, wormy beauty. On the Kaisando, which is an altar, one flower droops. I point to it. I think it needs replacing. You tell me. It's bowing. Inmost request, what's calling? Appreciating our life of Sangha, how's it being embodied? Sangha care, how's it being expressed? These are the things that we hope for you to take with you. Calling, embodiment, expression, Sangha care. And we're going to ask you to reflect on those things without any writing or preparation, both in online pairs and also here. And Peg will let you know how to do that.
So many of you are familiar with the walk and talk format. That's what we'll be doing. Yeah. And so what you'll do, you need to keep track of the time because we won't be able to time you. So what you'll do is you'll walk in silence for 5 minutes with these questions in mind. Then you're going to take turns. You'll each speak for 10 minutes while the other person just listens. It's not a conversation. Then the second person speaks for 10 minutes.
Without interruption.
Without interruption. And then you walk in silence for 5 minutes. And then you have 15 minutes to find a place to sit down and just discuss that experience. So altogether, 45 minutes. I'll be back here at the end of 45 minutes. And what you'll do this in breakout rooms of 2, and you'll give them 45 minutes to do the same sort of schema, right?
5 minutes of silence.
5 minutes of silence, 10 minutes of speaking, one speaker, 10 minutes of speaking, the second speaker, 5 minutes of silence, 15 minutes of discussion.
Vow, embodiment, expression, and Sangha. Actually, just reflecting on vow, inmost request, embodiment, expression. So inside, outside, then Sangha relation, care.
All right. So yes, this is a sort of an opportunity, especially if you want to reflect about anything about the walk and talk that you had with someone else, or anything at all about the intensive, and anything you'd like to share with everyone.
It's just a time to speak into the circle to feel complete as we finish.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody. I think most especially to John and his work group. It's like, wow. You guys did a fantastic job, everyone you have, just amazing, and thank you. It was so nice to come back in and have everything so sparkling, so thank you very much. What I want to share about is how, on my walk and talk, and I was with Dimitri, we were engaged in a serious, talk and listening. Trying to listen to each other and really think about what we were saying, when all of a sudden, from more than a block away, this little miniature collie came running as fast as it could. And I realized it was running at me. And I bent down, and it was just like, this dog just was so happy to see me. And what I got from that was, in my practice, in the midst of this, being serious and being introspective and taking time to really think about what my intentions are, my aspirations, and what I'm doing, I get surprised by joy. And that's what practice is for me. So thank you.
Somebody else had their hand up.
When I was head student, 2 weeks after I started, Alpamata closed down for the pandemic. And one of the things I really missed was straightening the zafus and zabuton after morning zazen every day. I really missed that. And it just so happened in this intensive, that was my duty. And I enjoyed it no end. It, for me, was such a loving act to show respect for each of you coming here and giving all these hours so that we can turn our lives so that they can be just a little more beneficial in this very troubled world. And it was just wonderful to have that opportunity, and I want to let you know how much I appreciated that.
And everyone was required so you could straighten the cushion.
Yes.
Believe me, when I was doing this alone, they were straightened for months on end.
Bet they got dusty though. Dust off them. This, for me, this has been dependent co-arising in action. And Appamada being about relational Zen and connection. And so each one of you seems so unique and important to me. I recently thought back about, when I was 18, 19 years old, and all those people I hung out with, and some I knew well and some I didn't. But I look back at that time, and every single one of them played a part. I mean, there are no bit players. And,
No
and
extras.
that's right, no walk-ons. I mean, they're all important. They all have a part, an important part. They make the whole. And so that's what I really appreciate, being here with all of you today in each of your uniqueness and everything that you bring to this. So thank you very much.
I wanted to say thanks to everybody, and particularly to Flint and Peg and the teachers, specifically for doing this as a hybrid. And I wanna say.
You've been on both sides.
Yeah, I have, yeah. So for the last 4 days, I've been with all the individuals online, and I have to tell you all, I missed you today. I missed your faces. But it's such an incredible experience to be with in both ways, either online or face to face. And they were two different experiences, but I'm like you, Ellen, it's so relational that I felt like I had a chance to connect with everybody online and everybody in the room. And a lot of that is just the way you all structure the hybrid so that we can all be engaged and involved. And thank you all.
My hopes for the intensive, this is my first intensive, were that I would, one of them was that I would get to know people better. I would, that I've been sitting with over time. And I just can't say enough how much those hopes were realized 1,000-fold. I just feel so grateful for the opportunity and just the blessing of kind of being with all of you. So I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a significant time when you go through your first longer routine. You.
Something from this morning that really I'm going to take with me was you, Flint, talking about the Bodhisattva as not being about becoming me, not about fixing. And then in our walk and talk, Joan asked me, I'm always curious when someone asks me a question and I can't answer it, when there's a pause as opposed to immediately. And she asked me, so when you come to Appamada, are you being me? And I paused a lot and I couldn't answer that, or, when am I being me and when not? Then I looked down. Wednesday night, I'm doing a thing for the Wednesday night meditation about a pencil. And I looked down on the ground and I found this, it was at an elementary school, I think. Russell Lee is at an elementary school. And I found this magnificent little pencil. And I think it still has some drawings within it, which is really beautiful. And in a way, I mentioned to Joan, I wanted to leave it there. But then Joan said, well, no one would care, so. I brought a plastic bag for something in my pocket, and so now I have, the pencil has a home till I get it home. But I didn't think it had lead at first, but I see a little lead in there, or it's actually graphite, but anyway, it's really exciting to do this. So, and then Joan's question was wonderful. So when am I being me and when am I just fixing things and trying to discern that. And so anyway, thank you so much.
Is there anybody online that, okay, good. Well, I just was reflecting that early on in meetings with Peg and Flint, they were talking about inmost request and vow and intention and so on, and I thought I would secretly think to myself, well, that part of me is broken. I can't figure out what I want, what I aspire to, and I want to just say thank you for your patience over time, and for coming back to this theme, which is so important, and which has been so important in my life, and how it has shaped me over the last decade and more. So I want to say thank you, and to you wonderful folks, some of whom I got to walk and talk with or share groups with, and my wonderful online friends whom I connect with so much in a given week. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
In just a minute, go ahead.
I wanted to thank Dan and Joan for the beautiful way they called for us, the bell, and for the soft rhythm of the clackers that just was very warming to my heart. And to Trent for showing me how to be Jisha. So much gratitude to the two of you. I think I'd like to say it in the words of the mole, from the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, which is, sometimes I don't know how to say I love you, so I'll just say, I'm so glad we're all here together.
Rosemary.
Hi. So the word I have for this whole week is connection. And it was very powerful for me throughout the entire time. With the folks in the Zendo, with the folks online especially that I met in breakout rooms with, there was a quality in my breakout rooms of listening that was just wonderful. I'm not sure that I was the best at that, but certainly the ones I was with were lovely. Also, there was a lot of care. I really felt it in trying to have us have a cohesive experience in this whole week. And I really appreciate that from everybody involved, especially our teachers. And John, I want to give kudos to you for the way you handled the work period, where you instructed us, because we're not, there's such a collective experience there that we don't have, but it applies to us here at home as well. And your instruction was so valuable. So thank you for presenting this, us as one Sangha in that work period. So thanks to all for really giving me a really beautiful feeling of connection with everyone. Thanks.
Yeah. Flint, when your voice breaks, it means so much to me. And how there's so much support around us being human beings. And that's so rare and precious to me. And Kim, would you take a screenshot of the online people for me?
Maria is really good at doing that.
Okay, Maria, will you take a screenshot of the online people for me?
A wonderful time being together with you both online and in person. I was actually delighted when Lori said, oh, you're supposed to help with some of the stuff on the tea table. I said, well, does that mean I get to come to the Zendo? Because I thought I only could do one. And so this worked out. She thought, yeah, there's some open spots, but to have both experiences. But the two things that stand out the most are when something was declared and Cassie said, I think we should hear an amen. And then the other one was watching and observing the care and spacious attention that Anne was giving to changing the flowers here at the altar and around the entire Zendo today, which will be very special. It's for the ceremonies tomorrow, and of course, but it's just it's so magnificent to see the people really slowing down enough to give their full presence. And I know so many of you who've taken on different tasks and roles have shown that same care. Thank you for your presence and for being here. Thanks.
I'd like to say that, just left me. How much I appreciated the connection. It was so palpable here. That's one thing. And another thing was this trajectory for me in particular was, I mentioned this to a couple other people, but how I came in a kind of a raw place, a very raw place. And the answer was here. Part of it was, it gives me a direction to go in my practice, which is being okay with the fragile, being okay with the one that always makes so many mistakes and knocks things over, a bumbling person that I am. So yeah, it's such an important lesson, one I've struggled with for so long. And I thank you all because you hold me up, and you have. So I thank you all, including you guys.
What are we gonna do to hear the rest of the story, Peg? Because it's been such a lovely story hour, and I so appreciate when I was eating my hard-boiled egg, knowing it had a story behind it, and so the form here that works like nothing else, like the full day intensive, although this technically really isn't the long till 8 or 9 at night day, but knowing that was born through your experience with Joko and seeing how well it works, unlike anything else, to help me forget my self-preoccupations is really amazing. So thank you for sharing your story and helping us understand more of where this originated.
For those who are interested in the story and the continuation of the story, so we're releasing it in serial form, as you know. It'll be on its own blog site, and then you can subscribe and you'll get notified when the next section is posted. And so you can follow it that way.
Will you be reading it?
Yeah.
It's all different.
Robin?
I want to just, I'm not sure what the right word is. I'll say thank you, but it's more expansive than that. I don't know, to just observe that the last time that we had an intensive somewhat like this in the Zendo, well, not in the Zendo, was January of 2020 when Laurie and Todd and Joel became interested. Just in time. And then the last time that the two of you were in this Zendo teaching was 2018. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I certainly, I think because of this practice, had to just be okay with the fact that, well, that thing may never happen again. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I'm so fortunate that I got to have this. And so it makes it really miraculous. All of the ancient twisted karma and Indra's net that brought all of us together to do this again. Thank you, everyone. It hasn't been easy. And we did it. Thank you for this practice that makes it possible.
I know you have your hand up, so I'm gonna go to you next, but it's interesting that it's not a threat, it's a teaching, but every place I go that I teach, like I'm going to Madison next week, I'm saying recently, every time I come, assume it's the last time. Even though that's not my intention. But it makes like, oh, this is it. Because we don't know, we're not sure. Now we know we're not sure. Now we know it can happen. And then with age too, it's like, ugh. So, thank you.
Yeah. So there were lots of things that just brought me to tears. Just there was so much sharing of really the most inmost heartfelt requests here. And so I wanted to remark particularly on our teachers, and I mean all of you, your willingness to step out there and risk and be vulnerable. I think you know it, but you need to hear it again. It really is an enormous teaching tool because it's so inspiring, you know. And I know for you it was like, should I be doing this? You know, and Flint, I haven't heard you talk about how you felt as a young boy before. There's a lot of things that really brought me to tears. And I think, yeah, it's like, you know, we can do it too. Yeah. So thank you.
We have Gail online.
I wasn't sure I had anything to share, and then I realized that I have this interesting perspective, having spent probably the first 8 or 9 years associated with Appamada, coming to in-person retreats and feeling your energy. And I know how powerful it is, and you know how much it's helped me grow. So this was the first retreat that I didn't go to really in person. I got COVID, so and I've been traveling, so I didn't want to come into the Zendo. I couldn't. But I really want to say how grateful I am for the online people who are supporting the online presence. All the hosts, Maria, Nancy, Rosemarie. This experience was very impactful for me, almost as impactful as being in person. The breakout rooms were wonderful. Maria is working at 2 a.m. She's up all night supporting us. And every evening when we all said goodnight, Maria's face would appear to all of us online with a big smile and a bow and say goodbye in her sweet, cheerful voice. And it was really lovely. And I also want to mention too that there are many people in the Zendo who, as they would do hin, would kind of look at the online folk as they came up to the camera, or it appeared that way. I felt connected. And also, there are many people in the Zendo that I wasn't aware of how this works, but Joel and Ellen and several people would come up to the monitor at the end of our sitting periods or when we were getting ready to leave, and wave at us and say goodbye and bow. And it just really felt like a cohesive, connected experience because of those people. So I just wanted to say how grateful I am for the experience. Thank you.
This just came to me. I was just thinking how serious I often take things, and I was thinking back on this intensive and how much fun I had. I had so much fun. Yeah, and y'all's teachings are very lighthearted and playful, and so many people here were like that as well. I was sitting, I think it was during lunch in the study, and I was sitting across from Kim, and someone brought him a note, and he was reading it, and I was watching, and Kim's face, it was over probably 3 minutes. His face was really confused at first, and then maybe kind of angry, and it just went through this whole process, and then at the very end, it was this huge smile. And I just thought it was so funny. So thank you. But yeah, I had a really good time as well as the intimateness and connectedness. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being.
Yeah, that's it.
I just wanted to thank you, Ellen, for sharing the head student seat with me and being here in person so that I could sit next to you and get to know you in this way. It's really wonderful. And also how we shared the seat with you online and being here in person, and how so many people remarked that it was like we were somehow coordinated, like we would bow at the same time. And it just kind of happened, and it was kind of remarkable. And I've been reflecting on that this week. So.
We do have bells, you know.
I know. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you too, John.
And thank you for being there.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, this has been an extremely powerful retreat for me, and the focus on the Bodhisattva vow was just beautiful, and being able to take the time to write my own vow was extremely meaningful, and I really appreciated sharing it with my online friends and the connection online, and now today the connection in person. So very thankful for that. And I loved it, Flint, when you said hybrid is here to stay. It's not going away, which is wonderful, because I'll be on the retreat next week and then the one in May with the people in the UK, and ditto what Gail said on feeling connected when you're online. Very much felt a part of this.
Was this your first time to be in the Zendo?
Actually my second, but it was several years ago.
Oh, okay, I can remember.
Is it okay if I just say something? Oh, sorry, Joel.
Well, I just quickly wanted to say, Nellie's name got left off in the thanks for the monitors. And for those who don't know, Nellie lives in Avila in Spain. She's from France. She's multilingual. She's an ordained Zen priest. And she has joined Appamada in the last year and has quickly become so important in the Sangha. I just wanted to acknowledge Nellie as well.
Nellie, could you wave?
Yeah.
Let us know who you are. Wave.
Okay.
There she is.
There she is.
I was just wanting to say a huge thank you to everything that's been going on in the background that a lot of people don't see. You know, the monitors, Rosemary, Nellie, Nancy and myself have all been operating and making breakout rooms happen, connection rooms and practice discussion rooms. And there's been lots of trials and tribulations that have happened. And especially with me and Nancy today, internet disappeared, and then somebody got kicked off, and all these Zoom gremlins, as we call them, were kind of happening to us, you know, and there's something about how all the monitors have dealt with it in a very kind of efficient and wonderful way. And for me, it's about how, you know, it's an intensive itself, having a role, as you all know, in the Zendo and online. You know, it's another part of the intensive, and it's kind of, for me, it's where was I coming from in that? Where are we coming from when everything's calm and nice? That's good, and then a difficulty happens, and noticing what happens, and to keep coming back to the stillness and to operate from that place. Where am I operating from? And I think all the monitors managed that this week, with all the different difficulties and getting thrown off, and people having to back other people up. And yeah, it's been quite an intensive of how busy. I mean, Flint said to me at the beginning of the intensive, you know, I said something about putting a spoke in the wheel to slow things down. And Flint said to me, how about sitting in the axle in the middle of the wheel, you know, while everything else is carrying on? And that stayed with me all week. And I've just kept going into that, the middle of the wheel, you know, while everything else is going on. And just noticing, you know, what happens, and, you know, where we get pulled and pushed, and just where am I offering from? Where's the offering coming from? You know, where is that coming from? And always checking. Where's it coming from? What part of me am I coming from? And yeah, it's been a real wonderful reminder to just really check in and see, where am I coming from? What part of me am I coming from? And so yeah, just a huge thank you to all the monitors and everyone in the Zendo. I mean, it's probably the most connected I've ever felt to during an intensive with Appamada, online and in person. I mean, you've all been bowing and recognizing. There's been an acknowledgement, and it's just. And a lot of you's come online, and it's like a Cassie waving at the back there. I've been doing, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm in the Zendo, I'm waving like mad. I shouldn't be doing that, but it's like I couldn't help, you know. It's like, oh, should we be doing this? And are we breaking protocol? And it's like, oh no, let's just have a wave. But yeah, it's just been wonderful, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I know hybrid hasn't been easy for some, and the way you're all accommodating it online and in the Zendo is just wonderful, because it just widens our practice, our shared practice in such a way that's the expansion and the, you know, what the offering is just immense. And I'm so full of gratitude for everyone that takes part in making it happen. And yeah, thank you so much.
A little side note, one of the definitions of dukkha, the literal, is the axle of a wheel that's stuck.
It's not turning freely.
Not turning freely. Anybody else before we?
Well, I want to express.
Besides us.
Yes, I want to express my appreciation for all of you, because you wanted this Sangha to stay together no matter what. So you held it together through all these challenges, all these trials and tribulations, and because of that, we can come back and we can be with you again in ways I never thought we would ever be able to do again. I couldn't even tell, will this Sangha survive? So
it's not because of us, it's you.
This is a miracle to me, that the strength and resilience you've shown and your commitment to each other is just so heart-opening, and such a beautiful thing to witness. You know, it's not, you probably don't know this, but not every Sangha survived the pandemic. So quite a few of them, in fact, were lost. Well, reconstitute themselves, you know, but it was a devastating blow from many Sanghas. So your being here, just your being here for this intensive, I just appreciate it so much, what you've done, what you've been able to do under such hardship. You know, it's kind of a miracle.
Amen.
Of course, my, I have tremendous appreciation for our monitors, for our timekeepers, for John, for doing the work practice so beautifully, for each person who took a role, helping with the tea table, sweeping a walk. It just shows such connection and care. I really appreciate it. We can't make that happen. We have to create the causes and conditions and hope that this is what people really want. You've really shown that.
And thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming. We haven't talked together.
getting together.
We haven't talked together for 5 years.
I know, kind of this way.
Yeah,
And for all of you, for even, if you're online, still hang out with us and not give up or fall away, but to actually contribute in ways that are significant, not just be with us, but actually deepen the practice because of the way that you are with us. That's quite significant. It's been wonderful. It feels in some ways like we've never left, and in some ways surreal to do that. It's, that kind of feeling. And one of the reasons that it's lovely for you to show up in all the ways that Peg said, but also it gives us an opportunity to, I'm going to say it, to have to teach. I mean, it calls for something in us. It doesn't get called for unless you show up. So you show up is a gift to our practice, because then we have to practice by showing up in response. And that calls forward something that wouldn't be called forward otherwise. So thank you.
I've often said that there are students who don't have a teacher, but there's no such thing as a teacher who doesn't have students. Right? There's just no such thing. It's required. So it's your present that makes us teachers.
So as you know, there is a Sunday morning program tomorrow. There's also a beautiful ceremony in the afternoon. Several folks here, so you're all welcome to that.
We kind of drift towards brunch at Central Market after the morning program. We'll do a rehearsal here at 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock rehearsal.
Yeah. And then 2 o'clock is the ceremony.
What is the translation of the word jukai?
It's 2 letters, but I don't know what it means exactly.
Well,
it's a precept ceremony, but I don't know.
Well, the kai, I think, is precepts, and the Jew, I think, is a sort of ceremony, celebration.
The ceremony of precepts.
Yeah. Yeah. But we speak of it as the Bodhisattva initiation ceremony, which I like better. Jukai shorter.
There's Tokudo is kind of thought of as like almost ordination or that kind of ceremony. And there's Saike Tokudo, which means following the way and staying home. And then Shuke Tokudo, priest ordination, is following and leaving home. And so there's
That's really
householders and priests. They're 2 different kinds. So.
Well, no, they're priests, and the priests can be householders or monks. So there's monks and there's householders. That's the distinction. Are you monastic?
But the level, the ordination types have different ones.
Yeah.
Who here or who is going to be receiving the precept?
To take the precept?
Tomorrow.
If you're going to take the precept, stand up.
Trouty's not here, but
Trouty
also.
So 3.
Which is a very great gift to the rest of the Sangha, by the way, because all of the people who have taken the precepts already in this way, they will be extremely moved to be here witnessing.
Everybody gets to renew their vow.
Everyone gets to renew their vows. So it's a beautiful ceremony. I hope you can join us.
Oh, I also forgot to mention, someone did mention turn, but as Jisha, it was very nice to it's sort of, you can see the dance. It's a lovely thing to train the choreography. And it changes, it gets more precise, and there's an intimacy to it over time, repeated. So thank you for that.
Really sweet role.
We have to say goodbye.
Can we do a group photograph before we end for Cassie? So we'll do one with everybody in the Zendo and then one all together with everybody in the Zendo.
Why would you do that? That sounds like a nightmare.
We've done it before.
Gotta figure out how to do that.
How would it work best for you?
If we wanna do everybody, then I can take a picture of everybody and then y'all can save a space for me there and then somebody else can come around and take a picture and I'll Photoshop myself.
Or I could just take one now, Cassie, with yous all.
Oh yeah,
just
you
take
could put it on speaker view and just take that shot.
Right.
Yeah, if you put it on speaker view at your end, you'll be able to see who's on the screen.
Make sure everybody is in it.
Yeah. And if you don't see yourself in that,
Oh yeah, look at that.
right away, yes.
If you can't see yourself, you're not in it.
Well, is Joel in it?
Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be in there, that little strip will.
Yeah, that's true, so you don't even have to move forward.
So you don't have to do it.
Oh, no, he won't do anything.
Yeah. If you
So
minimize.
Jukai.
What are you doing?
That's what the photo will be.
There you go, there's one. And there's two, and I'll just put it in gallery view at this end, just so that I can take a picture of everyone together. So we're all getting online and in the Zendo together now.
So now put it on gallery view?
No, I've got it on gallery view here for the photo.
Great.
And that's it, that's everybody together.
Thank you.
Got a lot next year.
Yeah. We'll do exit bow. I know you didn't have the word cats.
Right. But I would like to get a picture.
You stay where you are, everyone.
Okay, we stay.
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 Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Everybody. Thank you. It's been wonderful spending this time with you.
The writing that you may have stashed underneath.
You say goodbye.
Yeah, get some sleep, Maria. Get some sleep, Maria.
I will.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much. Bye.
Good
Bye.
Bye. I love to you all.
Thanks, Maria, for
Oh, you're
saving the day today.
I hate to leave.
I know. It's time to go.
It is time. You can't go till we go, so, okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Susan. It was lovely having you over here with us, Susan.
Oh, can't wait. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy packing, Nancy.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Bye, you all. We're gonna go wash dishes.
Yeah, go wash dishes.
I need to go wash dishes too.
Yeah, we have to go, don't we, Nancy? Take it easy with all your packing, won't you?
Yeah.
And thank you so much for all your help, Nancy. You've been wonderful. Thank you. We did good. We did good.
Yes.
Oh, bye, Laurie. Bye. Thank you so much. I just wanted to jump out and hug you, Laurie.
See you soon.
Yes, see you soon. Bye-bye. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.